Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to yet another broadcast on Hinduism. My name is Nishit Kotak. I'm here with Jay Lakhani. Jay bhai, good afternoon to you. Viewers, please bear with us as I just check YouTube for a technical issue that we seem to be having. We're just reconnecting to the stream on YouTube. So whilst we wait for that stream to be going on, I just wanted to welcome everybody to the broadcast for today. We recently celebrated World Yoga Day here, well, everywhere around the world. But Jay bhai, would you like to start off today's discussion with that? I'm still waiting for the YouTube channel.
You might just wait a few seconds to get the YouTube sorted out, because a lot of people watch us on YouTube. Just give us a moment. Yeah, we're just sorting out the technical problem with the YouTube channel. They're not streaming live, so we're struggling. So how was your trip, Nishit bhai?
I had a really good trip. So I've been away. For those of you who've been following the broadcast, I've been away for I think 1 or 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks now. It's good to be back now and be on the broadcast as usual. And I'm really looking forward to sharing some of these interesting questions that you, the viewers, have sent to us. What I may do is, Jay bhai, if it's okay, I may just restart the broadcast on YouTube.
Okay,
yeah?
so we start again. Okay, no.
Would somebody on YouTube please let me know if they're able to see the broadcast at the moment?
No, I don't think so.
I believe that broadcast is
We'll
not...
start a few minutes late today, but let's sort the YouTube channel out. Technical problems, usual stuff.
First world problems.
Hopefully.
And we are now live on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for your patience, our viewers on Facebook, waiting for us whilst we sorted out these technical issues. So once again, my name is Nishit Kotak. I'm here with Jay Lakhani. We do this question and answer session in Hinduism every Saturday at 2 o'clock in the UK. And the idea behind this is to answer the questions that you, the viewers, may have on anything to do with Hinduism. We are still struggling with the YouTube channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it another go with another phone this time. So we're going to switch phones now.
Okay.
Take this one off. I'll just use that for the questions. Live with this.
Okay, Nishit bhai.
So looks like we are finally back on now. Thank you so much for your patience, everybody, whilst we waited for this technical issues to be sorted out. So I'll start again. My name is Nishit Kotak. I'm with Jay Lakhani, and we run this question and answer session on Hinduism every Saturday at 2 o'clock in the UK. And the idea behind it is to spend about 45 minutes to try and answer the questions that you, the viewers, may be having regarding anything to do with Hinduism. So I was just sharing that we recently celebrated World Yoga Day. It's quite an important day. And so one of the questions somebody asked was, how often or how many lifetimes of yoga do I have to do to achieve moksha or something like that?
Wonderful. First of all, let's say, you see, we must pay a tribute to Narendra Modi ji, who has made yoga an international day, and that is why the world is celebrating the International Yoga Day, because yoga is a very kind of universal phenomena. Any human being from any culture, any tradition, any religion can subscribe to it. It basically says, make your body healthy, so you live a healthy life. That's called the physical yoga, and also try and address the inner man, your mental issues, your frustrations, your distresses, your emotions, how to get a handle on that. That's what yoga is all about. So it's a very universal feature. That is why it should be called an International Yoga Day, and it must be a tribute to Modi ji for doing this. Now, one person has asked in a very loving manner, Mr. Lakhani, how many lifetimes should I continue to practice yoga before I achieve moksha? Now, this is a very heartfelt question. We all face this kind of thing. We may be meditating and we still don't get any reward, and we feel frustrated and say, how long do we need to carry on meditating, Mr. Lakhani? Understandable. I'll do a funny story, and then perhaps we'll give an answer to this question. This is a story, a mythological story, of course, colorful narrative. We love this. Now, there was, this person called Narad Muni. Now, he's a kind of communicator between this world and the world of Vishnu. Now, Narad Muni was walking around. He saw one man sitting under a tree, looking very miserable, morbid, very, very focused, but here looks seriously sick and meditating. And when Narad Muni passed, the man said, come here, Narad. You have got a direct line with Vishnu. Can you please ask him how many lifetimes do I have to meditate before I achieve moksha? Narad Muni said, no problem. I'm a good communicator. So then he went forward. They met another man who was a bit less focused. He was not looking miserable at all. He was scratching his bottom and he was kind of and trying to meditate at the same time and smiling. And Narad Muni was passing by, and the second man said, Narad ji, you go and see Vishnu all the time. So can you please ask Vishnu how many lifetimes do I have to keep meditating before I achieve moksha? Narad Muni said, no problem. I'll sort you both guys out. So he went to Vishnu. This is a colorful story, and it's not literal. Be careful, I keep warning you. So he went to Vishnu and said, Vishnu, these two boys are asking question, and what should I reply? Vishnu gave him the reply. He said, okay, tell them this. So Narad Muni came back to the first man who was looking morbid and miserable. And Narad Muni said, look, my friend, you still have to meditate for at least 10 lifetimes. And the man became even more morbid. 10 more lifetimes, this is horrible, and started crying. Narad Muni said, okay, bad luck, I have to go forward. He went to the second man, who was less, he didn't look morbid or miserable, he was quite happy-go-lucky. And he asked Narad Muni, when do I get moksha? How many lifetimes? Did you ask Vishnu? And Narad Muni said, of course I asked Vishnu. And what was the answer? And Narad Muni said, look, my friend, you're sitting under this tree with so many leaves. Yes. Now you see, Vishnu told me that this man will get moksha because he's so kind of distracted and kind of not too bothered. He will get moksha after as many leaves on the tree, that many lifetimes he has to keep meditating. And there are thousands of leaves. And he says he has to meditate for that many number of lifetimes before he will achieve moksha. The moment Narad Muni said that, this man started jumping about and dancing. Wee-hee! I've been promised moksha after so many lifetimes. Oh, wow. He's happy-go-lucky. He was jumping about, dancing with joy. The first man was becoming even more miserable. And immediately he heard, of course this is standard stuff in Hindu storytelling, a voice from the sky saying, my friend, you already achieved moksha. Because the fact that somebody told you moksha is guaranteed, that was enough for you to jump the bandwagon of trying to meditate for so many lifetimes. That itself shows that your sincerity and your love of this particular concept that you are guaranteed to get moksha is enough for you to jump about. That means you already achieved moksha, my friend. So this is a very lovely way of saying that please don't get worked up. Continue to work towards moksha, continue to work towards meditation as much as you can, but don't lose heart and don't become morbid and miserable. Moksha, according to our tradition, is guaranteed for everybody. So a few more lifetime here or there, so be it. It's more fun, it's more scenic. So this is the kind of very light-hearted reply to this issue of when do we get moksha. Just do your best and things will unfold gradually, and provided you feel sure there is moksha guaranteed for you, that will in a way drive you faster to achieve moksha.
Thank you, Jay, for sharing your thoughts on that. That was quite an interesting concept to explore. Now, folks, if you're just joining us on the broadcast right now, I'd like you to let us know in the comments area. any questions or any comments you've had about the broadcast so far. If you like it, feel free to share and invite your friends and family onto the broadcast, because the more people we have on the broadcast, the more we can share and enjoy the questions. So the next question we have is a question that says that
it's a very long question, but it's very, very cutting question. I think we should address it. That's why I asked Nishit Bhai. It's a very long question. Look, he's struggling to read it. So he's now looking through the key part of the question and see how we respond to it. It's a very cutting question.
So the question is about personality versus principle-oriented Hinduism, and we're talking about devotional aspect of literature. And they say that divine entities will come and help when one surrenders and one expresses devotion. This was clear in various countless literatures. However, after such clarity, if we see atrocities like the Bengal famine and other children's pictures of torture, etc., it is also clear that all these people did cry out for help. And when they did, they all blamed it on karma, which is a concept of their own creation. So these rishis and gurus, who many considered as immortal, just sat and watched the show, which many people cried for help, and it never came. So what I think the idea was asking was that we all say that God is almighty, God is great, God is merciful, God is compassionate. Then why is it that we also have to face such atrocities or such calamities? And how do we reconcile the fact that if God is all good, then why do we have such kind of misery and sorrow in our lives as well?
It's a very cutting question. I'm going to spend literally perhaps 10 minutes on this, because I think we need to address this very important cutting question. Let me make it even more cutting. This gentleman just talked about famine in Bengal and some children suffering, etc. Let me make it much more cutting. For the last 1,000 years, the Hindus were kind of overrun by people of other traditions. They were butchered. The greatest genocide on the face of this earth was Hindus being butchered in the last 1,000 years. And the Hindus were building temples, cracking coconuts, singing bhajans, all these things, and going on pilgrimage and building more and more temples to all the gods and goddesses you can think of. So a question should arise, and I think Hindus are very foolish not to ask this question. If we had done so much hard work in praying to, worshipping, submitting ourselves to these gods and goddesses, why for the last 1,000 years we were at the mercy of outside forces who came and butchered us? The greatest genocide, Hindus being murdered, or women being raped, being taken away for slavery. And where were all the gods and goddesses? You are worshipping them, you are submitting to their will. You are saying, I pray with all my feverish heart, please help. Why, where were they? Blunt question, very blunt, a very cutting question. Hindus don't like to answer these questions at all. Now, in order to answer this question, I'm going to spend a lot of time, because it's important for us to really realize where the answer lies. First of all, let me start the journey in a very simple manner, saying, forget about asking God for help. Because in the Abrahamic tradition, this idea is the ultimate reality called God. Hello, I'm here looking after you. In this cutting question, Nishit Bhai said, if he's almighty, all powerful, all compassionate, why doesn't he step in? Why suffering? When you ask a person from the Abrahamic tradition who believe in this monotheist God is the ultimate reality, the answer they give is very interesting. Is watch out. They say we don't know what is God's plan, why there is suffering, but don't worry. You'll be rewarded in heaven forever and ever. So even though you go through this suffering phase, bear it, and be submit yourself to God, believe in God, submit yourself to God, but you'll be repaid for all the suffering, because you're going to end up in heaven. Woohoo! So all the suffering you pay. So this is a way of consoling the devotee. Say, don't worry, you'll be repaid. Now you see, for a person who likes rationality, etc., this really flies in the face of common sense. Why should he smack us, whack us, and make us go through hell? Then he says, okay, now I give you sweeties. It's terrible. So this, and again, what about people who don't believe in their tradition? Suppose there's somebody who doesn't belong to their particular religion or tradition. He's a nice person, and yet he's supposed to go to hell and still suffer here and also go to hell as well. So what kind of theology is that? It flies in the face of common sense. So we don't agree with that. But we still have Hindus say, but we love Vishnu. There's also monotheism. So how do you respond to that, Mr. Lakhani? And I'm going to give that response. Very important. You see, I've been pushing the Hindu, people, Hindus generally, to say, please, move from this personality-oriented aspect to your religion to a principle-oriented part of your religion, which gives a better answer. So, but the Hindus say, no, we like Vishnu, we like Shiva, whatever. And they're stuck with personalities. Now let me touch on where personalities stand on the issue of suffering. Suppose there is a great saintly person, a person who is established in truth. Whatever comes out of his mouth will be truthful, will be true. Suppose you implore him to help you out. Maybe he has passed away, but you still have a tremendous love for this great saintly personality in the world. Look, I'm talking about God. I'm talking about a saintly personality who is established in truth. And suppose you implore him, please help, I'm struggling. Nothing wrong. Hindus say, yes, you can. Why not? What happens is this. That individual, according to me, can interfere and can reduce your suffering. He can interfere because he in a way intercedes and tries to sort out your problem. He can do it. Do you know why? He's established in truth. If a word comes out of his mouth, you'll recover, you'll get better, according to me. So they can definitely intercept and try and resolve your personal problem. Look, these are great spiritual personalities in recent times or perhaps in the recent past. It is possible they can intercede on your behalf and reduce your suffering. But then they say, but Miss Lakhani, we do that and even then nothing happened. The answer comes from a very nice, colorful story. Again, it's a very colorful story, but very important. It says it's like the Kalpataru tree. Kalpataru tree means it's a tree which is called the wish-fulfilling tree. If you sit under the tree and you ask for anything, it will be granted to you. This is a story, mythological tree, Kalpavraksha. So, according to my thinking, the reason why, even if you pray to a personality who passed away, but you love so much and yet nothing happens, why doesn't it happen? According to me, you're not close enough to him. If you are that close, that means if you are too far from the Kalpataru tree, it doesn't work. When you get very close to the Kalpataru tree and you sit under its shade and then ask for anything, it will be granted. In the same way, suppose I love a great personality. Okay, suppose I love Ramakrishna a great deal. If I feel very close to him and then I say I want this, it will be granted. So you need to get very close to the personality you love, and it's not artificial. You should feel as at one with him. You feel that he's overlooking you, he's overseeing your position. Then he will intercede. He will enter. But if you are far away, you are kind of worked up with your worldly affairs, and then you think, oh, I prayed, it doesn't work. You need to get close to him, and really, you hang on to his finger and say, Lord, I've caught you. Now sort me out. He will do it. This is the second idea of Kalpataru. That means great spiritual personalities who can definitely help you out when you're under distress. The question has still not been answered. Millions of Hindus were murdered and they were crying out to God saying, Lord, help us. And all these people were running them down, killing them, butchering them. And where were all these gods and goddesses? See, here now I come in this highly philosophic idea that I've been planting again and again. Please understand this idea. If you think of God like a super personality, you will have trouble in answering this question. And people who are great devout say, they are Vishnu devotees, they say, oh, this is called Leela, God's play. God's play? What God play? Horrendous play. It's not just human beings suffering, undergoing pain and suffering. The living kingdom is full of suffering and bloodied. So how can you say that this God is playing Leela? What kind of Leela is that? So it's still not a good enough answer. The only way you can respond to this very serious philosophic issue is to say, need to move from a personality-oriented idea of religion to a principle-oriented idea of religion, then you are safe. I tell you how. I do this example, I've done it before, I do it again. What's the big difference? When you think of ultimate reality as a personality, Vishnu or Shiva is in trouble because we see the suffering in this world, he won't get an answer. When you move this idea, shift from the idea of a personality-oriented Hinduism to this more powerful, philosophically oriented, principle-oriented Hinduism, you are safe. I'll give you an example. You will like this example. I used it and it works well. Even with an atheist. Suppose, we live on this earth. I just made up this example. It's very nice when it works. We live on this earth and we discover something called gravity. It holds us down. You see, without gravity, we're all floating in the space and we can't survive, we'll be dead. So gravity is holding us down to earth and allowing us to survive on earth without floating away in space. So you say, what a wonderful thing. Now gravity is not a person. It is a principle that we discover underpinning reality. So we say, oh wow, this is good, this gravity is good. Let us now personify it. And you build a temple to Lord Gravity. And of course you go there, worship, tinkle bells, and crack coconuts. Oh Lord Gravity, we love you. See, you turn a principle into a personality and you're worshipping him. You're submitting to, oh we love you. Then you take your friend for a walk. Near a mountainside and a huge rock, a boulder comes rolling down and knocks your friend down, kills him. And you go, we are praying to Lord Gravity. And you run to the Lord Gravity's temple and say, Lord Gravity, what have you done to my friend? We were worshipping you. We were submitting to your will. Why did you do this? And what will Lord Gravity do? Shrug his shoulder and say, the thing that was holding you down will bring rocks down as well. This is how the cookie crumbles. Live with it. Now you see, as soon as you think of ultimate reality as a principle, you can answer this question of why suffering. But if you think of ultimate reality as a personality, like Lord Gravity, a person, hello, you won't allow me anything to suffer, then you are in trouble. The same is true with Hinduism. Look, my friend, your tradition is the only tradition that allows this kind of transition from a personality-oriented to a principle-oriented Hinduism. In fact, we started as a principle-oriented Hinduism, but then we personified it to make life easy, like Lord Gravity. So, it's a principle-oriented religion, and how do I respond to the question of suffering? This is how it comes back. Underpinning this reality we call principle, Brahman manifests, boom, as the creation, the physical world around us. And in this physical world, start popping up more and more as living things and sparkling and becoming more and more complex as humanity. And it is in a rush to manifest itself even more fully. That's why we become human. Very fast evolution. Now, in the process, this principle pays a price. The same Brahman, when he takes on different forms, the one animal, a tiger, another animal, a little deer, nice sweetie deer. And when these become manifested as a tiger and a deer, the deer is in trouble. The tiger will survive on killing the deer, eating it. So when this principle manifests itself as living things, it pays a price. It bites itself, if I can use the word, it bites itself. And that is where the suffering arises. According to Swami Vivekananda, the reason why we have so much suffering is because the evolution is the thing that's trying to manifest so keen to move very fast, it pays a price of kind of biting itself. Now, what's the best example? Look at the trees. They are not in a rush for evolution. They just stay the trees, but they don't bite each other. See, slow evolution. But once we enter the human kingdom, animal kingdom, with this thing start to happen. When you see your tradition as a principle-oriented, you are the only religion that's got the freedom to think of ultimate reality as a principle, Brahman. And when you think like that, you have got a better handle on addressing the issue of suffering, saying, in the rush for evolution, we created this friction. And the same Brahman is supposed to be pure and pristine, has a habit of biting itself when it manifests itself in a physical form. That is the best way to address the issue of suffering, my friend. Please remember the story of Lord Gravity. It will hold your hand when anybody challenges your tradition.
Great. It's a really good topic to explore, and thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. So viewers, please keep your questions and comments coming in. I can see YouTube is really active, and we also have a few viewers on Facebook. I'd like to say welcome to Murli Krishan, Shrikant Patil, Haridas Basnet, Daniel Stewart, and Abhinav Shankar. I'll come down to your questions shortly. We have on YouTube, we've got Tech Radical TV, another regular viewer, Sarfraz Ansari. We've got Saurav, we've got Raju, we've got Shival, Paula K, another regular viewer. How are you doing today? And in fact, this is a really good question. Paula is asking a question which I think everybody should be asking, which is, how can we become happy?
These are the lovely questions we must explore in this kind of programs. We are all in search of happiness, isn't it true? We're all searching. We feel that if we can just get happiness without the unhappiness that follows, we'll be so happy. So we'll be so even more happy. So we are always chasing after happiness. There's nothing wrong with it, is it? It's a human aspiration. It's an aspiration of every living thing. Forget human beings. Searching for a resolution, happiness, seems to be the end product. Where do you get it from? The idea is this. Anything that gives you pleasure, be careful, making a distinction between happiness and pleasurable. Anything that gives you pleasure is guaranteed to give you pain, sooner or later. Anything you think about anything, so I love chocolate cakes, in fact I do. And soon I get diabetes. So it kind of pays a price. I get whacked out and I have to be very careful what I eat now and take insulin and all that. So anything that gives you pleasure has a habit of catching up and saying, okay, time to give you a little smack. And it will work out anything. You like drinking, you like going to big houses, whatever. You have to pay a price for it. So this idea of chasing out of pleasure in a material world, in a material manner, comes with a serious health warning. We jump like fools, we think, oh, we have got it, we achieved it, we feel smug about it, and soon something comes and smacks us down. So pain is there. We chase after pleasure and pain is chasing after us. And before we can catch much of pleasure, we get pain whacking us and thumping us down, putting us down. In fact, very silly things I used to tell. If you count the amount of tears you kind of shed due to pain, and then count the amount of tears you shed due to pleasure, when you are very happy, a tear of joy will pop out from the outrage of your eye. Just measure them in your own life. You can't feel a teaspoon of tears of pleasure. You feel buckets of tears of pain. Since you were born, you can be smacked, and going on and crying and all that. So really, we are chasing after pleasure, but pain seems to have a habit of really thumping us down all the time. What is the resolution? This is still terrible. The answer is this. In reality, what we are searching for was not pleasure and not this game of pleasure and pain. We are searching for bliss. It's another word. Very central teaching of our tradition. We are in search of bliss, but we mistake it for being something that is pleasurable. And this is very beautiful. Again, in the Kathopanishad, there is something called Shreya, something called Preya, pleasurable. And Shreya means which is beneficial. So we kind of lose track, and the prayer kind of steals our heart, so we chase after pleasurable things, and we kind of get smacked all the time. What we are searching for is really bliss. How do we get that? That's changing the question from being how do we get happiness, I'm saying how do we get bliss? How do we live in a state of bliss? Answer is this. When you recognize that the way you kind of reduce yourself by saying I am this little me in this body and mind and intellect and all that, you are asking for trouble. When you start seeing yourself reflect in whole of the creation, whole of this human kingdom, when you see yourself in others, multiplied in others, it is a source of real bliss. Try it out. Try and look at your own life and see how much pleasure or how much, if I can use the word bliss, you get from your worldly activities, and how much bliss or pleasure you get when you kind of act with other human beings. The greatest source of happiness or bliss, according to me, is human relationships, not material things. So when you link up with other living things, other humanity, at the deeper level, at the spiritual level, and see yourself reflect in others, that is a constant source of bliss, happiness. So real happiness comes when you kind of link with other human beings. Kind of your relationship is where the real bliss lies. And this is not just me and the ancient Hindu scriptures. Harvard University research, what's the source of happiness? They asked about 200 youngsters for about 90 years, and they found out it comes from relationships, not position, power, money. No, even though we say, yeah, we love it. No, that's asking for trouble. It is when you interact with other human beings that relationship gives you a constant source of happiness or bliss. This is the resolution of this very beautiful question.
I think source of happiness is also very different depending on your age in life. And as a youngster, what makes you happy will be different from what makes you happy when you're a teenager. And it will be different from when you're in your early 20s and aggressive and you're trying to make something in life for yourself. And I'm at that point in life where all I want is to be around people who make me happy, who love and support me for what I am. And that's enough for me for now. So, and I think it will change as the age goes up. Your concept of happiness will be something entirely different. So it's a really interesting concept to explore again. And so now we move on to another question. And this question is from Gagan Bhardwaj, who was watching us from Hyderabad before. The question was about prayers. How can it be fitting under principle-oriented religion or Advaita philosophy?
Correct. You see, good. Again, we just talked about it just by saying that moving from a personality-oriented Hinduism to a principle-oriented Hinduism. So the question is very relevant, saying, where does prayers fit in into the scheme of things? Personality or principle? Now, I personally say principle-oriented Hinduism is the foundation of Hinduism. Personality-oriented Hinduism is an outcome, saying this is the way we become more principle. In a way we can relate to the principle by, in a way of projecting personalities and building up relationship with them. So where do I sit on this issue? This is where I sit. If you believe in a personality, suppose you say, I think of ultimate reality as Mother Goddess, fair enough. And you are praying, worshipping, and I'm an Advaiti, Vedanti, saying that no, the underpinning is not Mother Goddess, it's Brahman. Where do I sit? The answer comes from my mentor, Sri Ramakrishna. He says the following. He said, the love of the devotee is, don't underestimate yourself. The love of the devotee freezes this principle-oriented Hinduism, the Brahman, which is without name, without form, without any attributes, it freezes it into the form of your desire. So a devotee says, look, I don't believe in Brahman. This is too heavy. I can't understand. It's too subtle. I rather like Mother Goddess. I love mommy. Okay. So when he loves the intensity with which he loves the idea of Mother Goddess will freeze this Brahman into the form of the Mother Goddess, and will come in front of the youngster. He'll come, she will come. This is a guarantee of Hinduism. Do you know why we can guarantee it? Because you are as powerful as this ultimate reality. You are the spark of the divine. So you have the power to reduce this ultimate reality to the form of your choice. Why do I know these things? My mentor Ramakrishna, he was establishing Brahmagnan, and yet next minute he said, no, I want to see Mother Goddess. And because of his devotion is so severe, so strong, this prayer was so strong, this formless God said, yoo-hoo, I become Mother Goddess and play with you, my boy. I come with you, in front of you, with more intensity than with which I see you. So this is, if you like, the direct proof of how a prayer is heartfelt, very, very devout, very strong. The urge that you have to see the ultimate reality in the form of your choice and to respond to your prayer will become real, because you are the spark of divine. You are in fact bringing in this principle into a personality and then playing with it. So your prayers will be fulfilled provided you are able that devout to bring the principle. But you have to be as devout as Ramakrishna. It's not easy. But that is how you can reconcile personality and principle oriented Hinduism.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us. Just to remind you, we run a Q&A session on Hinduism every Saturday at 2 o'clock in the UK, and it runs for about 45 minutes. And what I'd like you to do right now is to share where you're watching this, either live or the replay from. It does help us to understand where the audience is coming from. And if you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the comments area. I will come to the first question from our viewers. Is from Shrikant Patil, who's watching us from Karnataka in India. And his question is, he says he comes from a Brahmin family and he performs something called Sandhya Vandan twice a day. So he's asking, what is the concept behind Sandhya Vandan? And the second question he is asking is also, what is Samadhi Avastha?
Okay. Let me answer the first question in a very minor way, because I'm not an expert in the ritualistic aspect of Hinduism. I have to put my hands up when I don't have the real answer. The idea of Sandhya is this, basically saying, think of ultimate reality, at dusk and dawn, think of the ultimate reality, focus your attention on the ultimate reality. This is called Sandhya Puja. That means when the sun is just coming up or when the sun is going down, this is the time when the whole world appears very quiet. This is the time to offer your devotion or your worship to the idea of ultimate reality. This is the basic that I know. Now, second part, what is Samadhi? Samadhi is this. People are fearful. They say, oh, Samadhi, I'll disappear. I'll lose my individuality. Samadhi, in fact, is telling you, you now for the first time gain your true individuality as a spirit. You no longer have to read books about it or listen to Mr. Lakhani. You are actually established in it. You see yourself as the ultimate reality. And the process is very exciting, because as you get closer to your true nature, you really get charged up like nobody's business. And when that time arises where you become one, merge with your true nature, or recognize your true nature for what it is, that is the way it's called Samadhi. Then you see these externals drop off. The idea that you, the body, the mind, the intellect, and all these past lives and all of them are spat out, and you become one with your true nature. So this is not losing yourself in some kind of blob, becoming lost in a blob. You in fact first time get fully charged up. You become the master of the universe rather than a slave of the world that you live in. Most of us live as slaves of the world that we live in. Haven't you noticed? Lots of hypes are being shoved down our throats. You must buy this house and do this. These are regulations and so on. We play along a hype that we created for ourselves and kill ourselves in the process. And feel smug about it as well. We have a hype, if I can get rich with this amount of money and that hype. And when you get it, you feel very smug. See, I've achieved it. You're just cheating yourself, basically. You're playing up to a hype and you're telling yourself, okay, I sorted myself. You sorted nothing out. The real time when you sort yourself out is to recognize, not just recognize, actually experience your true nature, your true self as a spirit, my friend. That is what your tradition is offering you. You first time get your true identity, not as the identity that the society is imposed on you, or your family is imposed on you, or you imposed on yourself, that we do all the time. You actually now for the first time achieve the true identity, your true identity. So you don't lose your identity, for the first time you gain it. Up to now you are living in a waffly state, and that waffly state is spat out.
Thank you so much. Folks, please keep your questions coming in. So the next question is from Saurav Gajarel. And this is a question, so, Jay, when we talk about going deep into spiritualism and trying to achieve moksha, and you get this concept of celibacy, and you must devote a lot of time and take away time from worldly sort of interactions and so on and so forth. Saurav's question is, what are the characteristics to be a yogi? Is it necessary to leave the home and family in search of higher knowledge? Why are there some swamis and monks? Can't they be at home for realization and social welfare at the same time?
Yes, it's an individual choice. That's the real answer. Because I cannot impose, or you cannot impose that. Oh, you must, do your yogic practice by staying at home and getting married, etc. You can't impose it on them. It's an individual choice. There are some individuals who cannot help themselves but become a monk straight away, because they're not there giving up something. In fact, they feel at one with the whole of human race. They do not want to relate to just their family that they were born into. So they see the whole world as their family. So they can no longer be tied down to a home and say, oh, stay in my home, you're my son, you're my daughter, etc. They feel at one with the greater world. So that is why the world has become their family. So they don't lose out. They are not discarding. They are in fact for the first time embracing their true nature, as if you like belonging to the whole world. The world becomes their family. So don't think they are kind of giving up. They are in fact embracing a bigger family rather than getting stuck with a small family. This is what drives the real monks. At the same time, my mentor Sri Ramakrishna gave very good advice. He said, look, you may think becoming monk and practicing all these austere practices and joining a monastic orders is a maybe easy way of making spiritual progress. He said, look, that is okay if that suits your temperament. Like Vivekananda, he became a monk. That suits his temperament, good for him. But for majority of human beings, perhaps, look, I'm using them very carefully, perhaps it is better to stay in a family surrounding and still live like a sadhu, live like a monk, even though you are in a family surrounding. How can you do that? First of all, you see this attraction you have for other gender. Now you harnessed it. You're kind of just focusing on one particular loyal partner. So again, you harness this thing that is kind of making us scattered. So you harness your kind of sensual, appetite. That's one way. The other thing is this: when you're operating within a family circle, you can practice your tradition, your own kind of loving relationship with you, at least with your family members, and then grow from there rather than abandon it and walk out. So this is like becoming spiritual in an enclosed wall. Nothing wrong with that. And many people are successful in a way living like monks, even though they are in a family atmosphere. They've got families, mothers, parents, whatever, and they still live like monks because their attitude has changed. Then one of the beautiful things that came from Ramakrishna is this: he said, look, after the birth of one or two children, even look at your wife not as a sensual partner to fulfill desires, but as a partner for spiritual progress. Suddenly you see the world in a different light. So now it's no husband and wife, like almost two spiritual companions trying to progress spiritually together in a family surrounding. What's wrong with that? So this is, if you like, the new tradition. For example, in Tulsidas Ramayana, you hear the word Tulsidas saying, if you don't tell a lie, and if you don't look at any other woman except your wife as a desirable object, then you will achieve God. Otherwise, come and slap me, said Tulsidas. Now Ramakrishna says something more. He said, look, after birth of one or two children, even your wife is no longer a wife like in normal sense. See her as a spiritual companion. You see, one stage higher. We are evolving tradition. So what Tulsidas said is fine. But now we are going a stage further, saying, even in married life, after one or two children, stop it now. Come on, calm down and focus on a spiritual aspiration rather than this kind of sensual lifestyle that you've been adopting. So this is the way you progress. Perhaps it is better to progress in a family surrounding. I mean, according to me, that is a better way of progressing spiritually than kind of rushing out and becoming a monk like Vivekananda. Is not my cup of tea.
So folks, thank you so much for sending in your questions. Welcome to Laini, welcome to Deepali, welcome to Shival, we've got Anup, we've got Mal Anders watching us from Australia. Welcome, Mal. We've got M. Max and Ashish Gurung and a few others. The question is from Tech Radical TV, and it's got two questions actually. This is to do with meditation. So one is, how do we achieve the state of nothingness whilst in meditation? And number two, what is astral projection?
Okay, the first question. You see, meditation, you're asking how do we go into some kind of zero state, kind of sunya state, that sometimes we misunderstood that means nothingness, in a state of nothingness. It's not true. Only thing that happens, I'm talking from experience, by the way, when for whatever reason this mind is always like a whirlpool that we can inhabit. It's this whirlpool in which we see the universe. When this mind that is in a way giving you a reflection of the whole creation, it's through the mind that you see the world. You never see the real world, what's out there. Your mind tells you what the world is. It's what your mind tells you. So you're living in the realm of the mind. Now, this is Patanjali Yoga Sutra verse number 2. That's all it says. He says this vacillating mind is kind of whirling around with all these emotions and drives. Anytime you interact with anything, any object or event, straight away your mind will go, do some kind of emotional baggage with you, throw some baggage in your face. So he says, this whirling mind, if you can hold it still, simple as that. Chitta vritti nirodha. If you can hold the mind still, it doesn't mean because the mind has been held still, it becomes nothingness. No, to the contrary, when the mind holds still, reality becomes visible for you. Otherwise, it's the very mind that's allowing you to make sense of the world is getting in your way. So when the mind holds still for an instant, it happens sometimes without any practice of meditation. It can happen like that. A person doing normal things, suddenly the mind comes away. And when that mind holds still for a moment, you see reality as it truly is. It's not conjured up by the mind. Say, okay, now I'm going to give you experience of Brahman. Nothing like that. The mind says, shush. This is what we mean by no activity in the mind. Just hold the mind still. My friend, you think seems easy. It's the most difficult thing. But for some reason, sometimes it holds still for no reason. Or you are so fortunate that suddenly all the whirling stops. And when it stops, even for an instant, you get a glimpse of reality. It's not conjured up. It's not conjured up by the mind. Otherwise, it's useless. It's an object of the mind. No. The mind says, no more interference. I just hold still. And reality is reflected. And you realize who you are and what is this creation all about. So it is just holding the mind still. It's not a state of nothingness. It's a state of just holding the mind still for a moment. Chitta vritti nirodha. And then reality as it truly is becomes reflected. When the mind is in a world like this, you can't see reality. You just see kind of weird idea regarding the creation of you and everything. But when it stops, there's nothing conjured up. It's there already. It just becomes clearly visible because the mind is become like a mirror, a clear mirror. It reflects reality as it truly is. And that is, my friend, the spiritual experience we are seeking. If you do that, you achieve samadhi. That's the end product of yoga. So this is, if you like, again, you see, you can do it through a lot of practice. There are a lot of different techniques I use. In fact, in one of the earlier talks, I said, mind has got this ability of being in two places at the same time. So tell one part of the mind, okay, I'm just the observer. I don't get caught up with your shenanigans. The other part, go on, do your mischief, I'll watch you. So you're just watching. Just by watching it, the whirling part of the mind says, oh, he's not bothered with me. He's just watching, doing nothing. He's a spectator.
No reaction.
So there's no interaction. So this part of the mind slowly settles down like a child, naughty child. Just keep staring at it, it slows down, says, I'm not producing anything. I'm jumping about and dancing and doing gymnastics. Mommy is saying, okay, I'm watching. And then the child becomes slow, calm down. This is one of the tricks. It's a trick. But the idea is to hold the mind still. Sometimes it happens many different ways. Maybe from many past lives, you've done so much meditation, that suddenly the result becomes visible in this life. So you get a spiritual experience without any preparation, like Raman Maharshi. Or sometimes it can happen, must be very frank, when you become a great master, spiritual giants, even if you're in front of them, you sit in front of them, even by mere glance, they'll give you their experience, they lift you up. Or even by touch, or by whatever method, by just offering a mantra in your ear, you will hit the jackpot. So if you are fortunate to come across such spirit, truly look, there are lots of horrible monsters in the system cheating you. When you come across a real, genuine spiritual master, a word from him, a touch, a glance will give you that experience free of charge, without any any attachment. So this is where you get true spiritual experience. Hold the mind still, my friend. It sounds so easy. It's the most difficult thing you can ever do.
What about astral projection?
Okay, now I've heard about this and I read books about it as well. I love to look at all this kind of exotic stuff. Now the thing is this: the mind has got many power, many attributes, a lot of properties. And it is quite true that sometimes when you are sleeping, etc., you may project yourself in a different creation, different world. We have heard stories about it. To what extent I can go along with it is something very speculative. So I rather not go into that.
Because you have not experienced it or seen any evidence of it.
It's speculation. I rather leave it alone. It may be possible, but I'm just leaving it alone.
Brilliant. So I'd like to say welcome to Anup, watching us from the Netherlands. We've got a few other viewers. And Shival, thank you for making my day. Shival says he missed me. Thank you so much.
Oh dear, Nishit bhai, we have got again problem. Somehow today there's some connection problem with YouTube. I don't know why. Facebook is coming out well, but YouTube is giving us hell today. Give us a moment. Let me try and see if we can bring YouTube back. Yep, you're back.
I think we're back now.
Okay.
So the question is from Mal Anders, and Mal is asking, how do we correctly follow the path of Jnana Yoga?
Yes. In fact, the world, look, there are lots of different pathways Hindus have been offering regarding making spiritual progress, and the four main pathways are the Gnana Marg, through intellect or through this rational kind of investigation, the Karma Marg through action, selfless action, or through Bhakti Marg, devotion to a particular great personality, ancient or modern, or the fourth part is yoga, through introspection. We've been offering these kind of pathways. Now, Gnan Marg, sorry my friend, I have to wait again. We're giving problem with this YouTube today. I don't know why. But give me a moment. Is this a problem with it,
Not sure. I'm not connected to broadband. Mine is
Facebook is
not on Wi-Fi.
Ah. Yeah. Back to normal. No,
Not
sure.
yet.
Give us a moment. Sorry about this. Disclosing all the different pathways of making spiritual progress, including the path of Gnan. But our Gnan part here is failing us at the moment. So give us a moment. Struggling, sorry about this. Still the YouTube is not coming on. Please bear with us. We're still struggling with the technical problem with the YouTube channel today. Transmission is getting interrupted for we don't know why. There's a great event taking place in Wembley today, and maybe that is creating a hell. All the broadband width are used up or something. I don't know. We'll try one more time, because we'll just go on Facebook and carry on.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I think we should perhaps switch off, leave it on.
We'll leave it on.
Okay.
We'll just carry on.
Okay. The Gnan Marg is the path of the intellect through rational kind of investigation. It sounds easy. It's the most difficult. Out of the four, the most difficult. There are very few who have mastered the Gnan Marg, the path of knowledge. He says through mere reasoning, you can suss out the nature of reality. Now, it sounds so easy. It's not. In fact, the reason why I'm bringing it in is this. It is now with modern sciences now that this pathway will be re-explored perhaps in a much more detailed manner, because until now we simply say through rational faculty, and what are the two faculties we use? It's called Vivek Vairagya. Means through dispassion with these worldly affairs and making sure that you focus on what is permanent resolution to human condition rather than the kind of more kind of temporary resolution. So Vivek and Vairagya, the two main tools, using those you can make sense, suss out the nature of reality just with open eyes, without meditation, without devotion, without anything. Very few people have been successful in it, and like Adi Shankara or Vivekananda are wonderful examples of people who are established in Gnana Marg. It is difficult because the reason is this. The tools we had in the past have not allowed us, if you like, this possibility. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by this YouTube channel. Okay, let me just carry on. So I think with the modern, the kind of progress of modern science now, it is very likely, it is very possible that we will be able to re-explore the path of Gnan Marg. Why? Not through ancient teachings of Vedanta, but through the findings of modern science. And I'm telling you, this is reality. If you are truly kind of thrilled by the findings of modern physics, say quantum, that the underpinning to this reality is not material, something different, it manifests, appears in the material world. Suppose you actually not just read it in the book or studied or did a master's in it or PhD in it, but actually begin to believe in it. When you're able to do that, then you see this gives you the greatest handle, saying that look, physics now is telling me this is the Gnan Marg, path of knowledge, through pure exploration of reality, using your scientific faculties, your rational faculties, and it is now guaranteeing us the underpinning of reality is not matter. Matter is a secondary phenomenon, it's appearance. So what we heard in the Vedantic philosophy, ultimate reality is Brahman, but it manifests, appears as a creation through the process of Maya. This is precisely what quantum physics is telling us now. Suppose you follow that pathway, that's what I would do personally. Or perhaps you focus on the idea of what is this thing called consciousness that I'm using to make sense of the world. And just focusing on this two aspects that we are discovering in modern science, this is the path of Gnan suitable for this age, I'm telling you. You can study Adi Shankara, Advaita Vedanta, till the cows come home, but I'm telling you, if you want a direct handle, these two features that we discovered in modern physics is the best pathway for progressing the path of Gnana Marg.
Brilliant. So, folks, it's come to the point of time in the broadcast for today where I throw J-Bhai a googly, a question that he's not expecting. He doesn't know that I've lined up for him, and I wanted to just ask him something. A question. We talked about happiness today, quite at length. And we talked about how somebody can pursue bliss. So my question is this: is happiness just a mix of chemicals in your brain, or is it something more?
You see, again, this is interesting. You see, you always ask me googlies which allow me to think deeper and kind of give us kind of much more lateral perspective. First of all, this is one of the greatest issues that we need to kind of address. The mind and the body are strongly intertwined. As long as you live in this frame, this human frame, the mind and body are strongly intertwined. So even if you get a dream, certain neurons will fire in some part of the brain. So there's a chemical activity or electrical activity in the brain. Even I'm dreaming, suppose we metaphysical phenomena. So mind and body are strongly intertwined as long as I exist in this body. But suppose I get a near-death experience where I in a way lose track of I don't have any link with my body, bodily function, my breathing, etc. stops, and I still am existing, but without the bodily link. This is what is recorded by people who have near-death experience. The chemical and electrical activities are kind of giving them hell when they were in the body in a very diseased state. Suddenly they all drop off. They don't bother them anymore. They're still there, fully charged up, alert, and yet this bodily function which was giving them hell has been discarded. So I'm saying that the fact that mind and body are strongly intertwined means as long as you are in the body, this happiness that you feel or the pleasurable senses you feel has definitely a sensory aspect to it. Certain part of the body, the brain, etc., will fire certain hormones or whatever, and you can suss them out. So you know that when you get a pleasure, what part of the brain is kind of getting charged up and kind of getting firing all the neurons, etc. There is a strong link. As long as you're in the body and the mind are strongly intertwined. But this in a way tells me about something else that I'm exploring. Is this: people don't realize that the bodily function that we have are so well joined up. For example, all the different parts of the body are so well coordinated. The breathing, your dreaming, your heartbeat, etc., strongly coordinated. And we in the ancient time, we used to call it the life force. But then the modern scientists said, no, we don't believe this life force. It is all nothing but individual chemicals firing or matching or mismatching, etc. that produces all these things as if they are coordinated. They are not coordinated at all. It's just different hormones or different things firing at different times in your body that hold the whole thing together. I'm saying this is a mistake. They're putting the cart before the horse. They think the physicality is all you need to focus on. I'm saying there's a metaphysical dimension to ourselves which is in a way holding all this together and is allowing the hormones to fire at certain times. So as they are strongly intertwined, you can say, there's nothing, no metaphysical, it's purely physical, because every time a metaphysical activity takes place, a physical change takes place as well. So you can say, no, we don't need metaphysical, just talk on the physical. But I am saying the life force that is holding us together is not something that's coming out strictly from this kind of different parts of the body kind of firing their own different kind of ways. There's something holding everything together, and that is a metaphysical dimension. But because it is strongly intertwined with the physical, we can't distinguish it. In modern biological science, discarded it completely, saying it's not important. But I'm saying it is going to be important because it tells us why we are so well joined up. All the different parts of the body are so well coordinated. You say, no, it's purely physical, certain enzymes and, I say, no, they're fired because the thing that's holding them together is allowing them to fire. Even in the process of gastrulation, this is another thing that we must explore one of these days. When, you get a beginning of life, an embryo being formed, this is called gastrulation. So the male sperm and the female egg kind of join together and the genetic material starts to kind of link up with each other and it becomes 2 cells and 4 cells and 8 cells and so on. This process should be, monotonous. To the contrary, it's not monotonous. Different cells take on different roles to fulfill. They become different cells in the body to produce the whole complex body. So you say, no, it's the same thing, but then why do we have this kind of differentiation? They say, no, it's just, kind of like, they fob it off. They won't answer this question. Why do different cells divide to fulfill different functions in the body? Remains a mystery, but they say, no, it's not a mystery, just this is how it happens. These are the cookie crumbles. In fact, there is a mystery. The thing that's kind of, in a way, manipulating those cells is something which is not necessarily physical. They call it RNA and DNA is telling RNA and RNA. But who the heck is telling the both of them? And they have not answered that question. But anyway, one of these days we'll take it up in greater detail.
Brilliant. So we have a couple of other questions. A couple of people have been asking questions about the books to read. So Shival was asking, could you tell me which books to start with? Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata, or any other? And we got Devashish Mishra asking us, would you kindly recommend a book by Swami Vivekananda for beginners, for someone who wants to initiate his spiritual journey? Somebody else was asking about where to get information about Swami Vivekananda, Ramakrishna, and I know one of the resources we have is our YouTube channel. It has quite a bit of information, neatly organized into playlists for you. But if you could share other resources.
Sure. Okay, look, again, different courses for different horses. That's a nice English saying. So depending on your own individual journey, you may be very strongly attracted to a personality-oriented Hinduism. There's nothing wrong with it, as long as you know its limitation. Suppose you like personality-oriented Hinduism, you like Rama, you like Ram. Suppose you like Krishna, suppose you like any of this wonderful personality of Hinduism. Is there anything wrong with it? No. Then follow the texts that are related to their lives. Fine. So you like Ramayana, follow Ramayana. Suppose you say, no, I like Bhagavad Puran, good for you, carry on. So depending on your own aptitude, your own particular liking, choose a scripture that appeals to you. Number one. I'm not going to tell you this is the right one. You choose. Because then it will make you progress from where you are. Suppose you start with Ramayana, it's purely personality-oriented Hinduism, then it will slowly drag you into the more impersonal aspect of Hinduism when you talk about Atman and Brahman. So it will slowly take you at your own pace rather than in a rush. Now suppose you say, okay, fair enough, Ms. Lakhani, we choose either Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Puran, or stories of some recent personalities, perfectly fine. Now, my own source of knowledge of Hinduism and aspiration has been, hands up, Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna. That's where I got all my knowledge from. I pinched all the material from them. Anything good coming out here is strictly from them. It's nothing to do with me. So that has been my source. But suppose I ask you to read the complete work of Swami Vivekananda, I am warning you. A lot of people have come to me and I told them, and they said, Ms. Lakhani, it's heavy going. Because Vivekananda is very condensed, very dense, very intense spiritual material. Even with one sentence of Vivekananda's talk, I can give a lecture for half an hour. It's that intense, that intense. So I would suggest. Sorry, I dropped my glasses as well. Getting intense. So that is a tricky one. So what we did, this is very tremendous, humble way I'm saying, we are producing a bite-sized Vivekananda through these kind of clips. And we've got 2,000 clips sitting on youtube.com/Hindu Academy, 2,000 clips. And if you go on the playlist, there are certain playlists devoted to the story of Sri Ramakrishna. I'm not saying abandon reading the books. I'm saying this is already available on social media. So take advantage of it if it appeals to you. But again, all journeys are individual. We love that. This is our speciality. We love individual journeys. So you may say, no, I don't care. I just like science. I like this quantum fellow. What's this quantum fellow telling us? Consciousness. I want to focus that. Whatever material that attracts you to make you feel spiritually enlightened or spiritually charged up, follow it, my friend. But at the same time, we have a lot of resources on social media. And I would say focus not only the teachings of great masters, modern masters, look at their lives. That will inspire you like nobody's business. When I was reading the story of Sri Ramakrishna, my hands stood on and of course a lot of them fell out. But this life stories of these great masters, modern masters, be very careful, be choosy. Don't just get fogged up by this kind of external razzmatazz. Real masters. And you look at their life stories, it'll thrill you to bits. That's my promise.
Well, talking about focus, we have a question from Ayan Banerjee. So Ayan says, Jebhai, he's been watching your videos for very many months and he's learned a lot of things about Hinduism from them. He lives in Kolkata and he lives very close to Swami Vivekananda's house. And his question is this: he has been practicing meditation for some time now, but he has not experienced anything outside his own five senses. That what he wants to experience, we've talked about bliss or some state of meditation, a super state. How would he go about experiencing this? Or can you share with him what it feels like to experience something like this?
That I'll tell you happily. Nobody shouldn't be talking privately, but I talk about it. When I was a 17-year youngster, I was reading this life story of Sri Ramakrishna. In the middle of the night, I really got worked up. I can't tell you more, except I went to the deepest meditation. You talk about samadhi, for me it is experiential. I went to the deepest meditation, I don't know how many hours. And I was sitting cross-legged on bed, 17-year-old young man in London, and went to the deepest meditation just by reading the story of Sri Ramakrishna. So I would go, boom, charged up, and I hit the jackpot. I'm not saying stop halfway, hit the jackpot straight away. This is incredible. So this is my personal story. How does it feel? In the beginning, what I felt, again I'm sharing very personal thing, is that the backbone that, I was just sitting still upright. I don't know why I was sitting upright. I didn't need to study books of Raj Yoga. I just sat upright and sitting like this. And suddenly the back of the backbone started to stir up, and you feel like kind of little buzzing, stirring, kind of vibration at the base of the backbone, bottom. Then it started to move up very fast, and it started. Different people may move very slowly or very fast. It moved very fast, and in no time I lost complete body consciousness. So the traffic noise from outside, I was living on Cromwell Road, in a very busy road. The traffic disappeared. There was a winter night. I didn't feel any cold on my skin, nothing. The skin stopped feeling, the ear stopped hearing, the body appeared like numb. Didn't have a body anymore. And yet I was fully alive, alert. I wasn't dozy and kind of daydreaming and kind of, like that. Fully alert, and becoming more and more awakened, becoming much more intense. The way I experienced myself in the world was far more intense, and yet the physicality had dropped off. And then when I entered a state where I saw the most brilliant light. When I heard this light, saw the light, it's not like the light of the sun or this spotlight we are here. It was such a brilliant, unusual light. And I kept watching because, and the things that were coming out of my sense system was, I'm home. See, this is the word I said to myself, I am home. So first I saw the light, I said, I am home. This is where I am. I knew it, I was always here. Why do you think I was little tiddler, sitting in meditation? Like that. First I saw the light, said, I am home. And in no time, I knew I am the light. And then the meditation went to the deepest level. So this is my personal experience. This is what actually happened to me. But I am telling you, I am very fortunate to have the blessing of the great Master Sri Ramakrishna. I am telling you, look, my friend, you live near Vivekananda's house, ask for the blessing of Sri Ramakrishna. If you ask for the blessing of Vivekananda, he will say, go to the Master, leave me alone. So ask for the blessing of Sri Ramakrishna. And I'm telling you, if you are that intense in your devotion, you will be rewarded with spiritual experience. I wish you well, my friend.
So, folks, I'd like to end the broadcast for today. We are coming up to just over the 1 hour mark. And I want to thank you all for joining us on the broadcast today. We will do this again next week. Unfortunately, our friends on YouTube have been let down as the broadcast has been interrupted. So I'd like to end with a quote from Swami Vivekananda, and the quote is that all differences in this world are of a degree and not of a kind, because oneness is the secret of everything. So I wish you all well. We'll see you next week on Saturday at 2 o'clock as the same time. Bye-bye.